Russia this morning not too happy about those U.S. efforts to sanction Moscow over its role in Ukraine. Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov meeting in Rome yesterday. This a day after senators in Washington approved the Ukraine Freedom Support Act. The bill calls for added sanctions. It also clears the way for delivery of $350 million worth of military hardware. Andrij Dobriansky is the executive board member of the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. He joins us this morning. Mr. Dobriansky, first of all, are you pleased with this latest round of sanctions?
Well, the bill, the Ukrainian Freedom Support Act, is great because it gives the president authorization to do a number of things, including giving the president the authorization to put more sanctions as well as deliver the weapons. So this is really in the president's hands, and we're really looking for the president to sign this bill sooner rather than later.
Now, Russia warning that it will retaliate. Saturday, Russia's deputy foreign minister would only say, quote, "We will not be able to leave that without an answer." If President Obama signs off, how do you expect Russia to react?
Russia has been on the offensive, so for them to say they're going to retaliate is a bit of a misnomer. They have been on the attack, 4,000 deaths in eastern Ukraine up to this point. We've had 1 million people displaced, and a civilian airliner that was shot out of the sky. So for them to ramp up, it's really people don't really understand what that would mean, since they're currently on the attack, even in the midst of a ceasefire that was just announced a couple of days ago.
What are your people on the ground saying about this? The global market, oil market, is in a free fall, which is great news for consumers at the gas pump, but bad news at a terrible time for Russia. So how is that going to affect Russia moving forward and the region?
Well, what's happening with the oil prices, even though the sanctions were announced, the real tough sanctions were announced in July, those haven't affected Russia's economy as much as the dropping of the oil price. That has affected Russia more than twice the amount of the capital that has been lost due to the sanctions. And because of the fact that Russia gets 50% of its state income through petrodollars, that's really going to be hurting them in the long run. However, we haven't seen anything from President Putin saying that he's going to change his mind due to this.
Well, based on what you're seeing economically, can Russia continue to, I guess, battle this on that front in Ukraine?
Of course, in the long run, Russia demographically and structurally hasn't invested in being a long-term power. But we need to focus on what's happening right now, and that's why the Ukrainian Freedom Support Act was so important for us to get passed. We need to save the people who are being fired upon currently, like today, the people who are being shot at and also deported. Today, there's a trial being held in Moscow of a Ukrainian service member who was kidnapped from Ukraine and being brought up on criminal charges in a Moscow court. Nadia Savchenko is one of our most decorated Air Force pilots, and it's actions like this that flout international authority and fly in the face of international norms that we need to counter Russia with acts like the Ukrainian Freedom Support Act.
Andrij Dobriansky, as always, we thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Dale.
Stephanie.